Okay, so welcome back for another episode. I think this today is book 22. So
Yeah,
what you
you wanna
have?
introduce it because I know you are a fan of this one.
Yes, so this is a book by Nassim Nicholas Taleb, one of my favorite author. The book is called Fooled by Randomness. This book is one of my top 10 for sure. And I've read three or four of Nassim's book, and I love almost every one of his book.
Awesome. Give us a quick description of the book, just so you can, I'll let you take the description for this one.
So the description basically, it's I mean, in my own word, it's basically a lot of times we see things and we find explanations for them where it doesn't it's not really the reason why the explanation is what caused it. It probably caused them by something else, and we're fooled by some of these like chances and probability. And so it kind of elucidate for you that there are hidden elements that actually is the real cause, but because of the way we explain things, we get fooled by thinking that something else is the solutions or is the reason why something happened.
Yeah, I think that's a good explanation. I think it's like we get sucked into these rabbit holes of trying to make sense of completely random events and tying the link together of all of them. And you know, well, the reflection title I wrote
Right.
today is there is no patterns in randomness. I mean, it's just random, right? The book is as you said, it's full by randomness, the hidden role of chance in life. And honestly, my reflection is it's another personal one about Amelia. So as you had mentioned, Nassim Taleb is one of your favorite authors. He's becoming one of my favorite authors and voices and thinkers as well. I really love his perspective just on life in general. That everything's basically random, and that's kind of how he approaches stuff, that's his philosophy on life. And he tries to, as the rest of the world tries to put order and consistency to everything, he tries to, not under to do anything. He tries to embrace the randomness and to say, like, look, you guys, we as humans love consistency and order, and to try to always, hit the mean and the medium of everything and keep things, predictable, and it's not predictable. So he plays he plays with the laws of the universe, and the laws of the universe is randomness. And I tend to agree. I don't even know that there's something to disagree about with him. I mean, you can look around evolution, everything that we see, and if you actually just open your eyes a little bit, it's all completely random. Like, even us just being here, we're damn near miracles. Each
Mm-hmm.
and every single one of us even existing in this world. My son's first birthday is coming up tomorrow, and I was, telling Felicia, like, the other day, it's almost incredible to think, hey, we're, as we learned in the book The Body, by Bill Bryson, like the chemical alignments and all the other stuff that goes on in our body to even create who we are and to create life itself and to create humans, is it's like a one in a trillion, kind of opportunity for us to even exist, let alone the dynamics of, my wife and I meeting in college from different states, different places, different areas of this world, to then, to then create Luca in some way, shape, or form, and Amelia, like, I mean, it's like, I don't even know what the odds are of anybody existing. It's all completely random, but
Mm-hmm.
it's also fascinating and beautiful at the same time. So, my how this relates to my reflection is, Taleb. The reason why I read this book in particular is because I read The Black Swan first, and you and I have connected on this and talked about that
Right.
ad nauseum, and it's one of our both top 5 favorite books, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
And I that was when I really first started to really like, Taleb's writing. And so I picked up Fooled by Randomness to kind of continue on with that, because he has this whole series called, he calls his
Inserto.
Inserto, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
about randomness. And I didn't actually know where this one fit in the order when I started it, but I actually found out afterwards this is actually a prequel to The Black Swan.
Right.
This is the first book that he read. It was funny reading this because you could kind of start to see own dots clicking in his own head of, you know, what
Mhm.
ultimately became the next one. And I'm excited to see the other ones down the road.
Right.
However, when I read The Black Swan in particular, and you know, the conversations about randomness, it you know, it was at a time in my life when my daughter had just passed away. She was born at 22 weeks old, and 22 weeks and 6 days old, only weighing 1 pound and 1 ounce, you know, and
Mhm.
she was fighting for life in the NICU. And you know, a lot of questions, right? You know,
Right.
a lot of days of like, why did this happen to us? You know, like, why did this happen to her? Why is this happening at all? You know, and then when we lost her, you know, even more questions started to build up in my own mind. And it's natural to question, like, when these things happen, like, because, you know, I don't know, nobody wants this stuff to happen to them, but you know, it's a part of this universe, and it's a part of this world. And these books, and understanding there is no patterns and randomness, you know, was an important part of me setting a new foundation of my life, I guess, you
Right.
know, of coming to terms with what happened, and then you know, understanding how truly random this was. You know, like, I mean, it's long odds of having what happened to my family and to my daughter to happen to anybody, and there's nobody's fault. There's no one to blame. There's no, you know, there's nothing other than it was totally random. That, however, once you set that baseline, then for me it was more about like, okay, great, this world is random. What do you do with it? You know, like, you know, what's the what do I, you know, how can I take back a little bit of some semblance of control? And that was when this whole journey kind of really started to kick off, and I started to find, you know, life enjoyable again, of just doing the little things of, you know, it's about questions versus answers. It's about uncertainty versus certainty. It's about, you know, it's about embracing that, and it's about embracing that we don't know anything, and that, you know, life is random, but you know, that shouldn't stop us from wanting to question the world, and you know, to be the best human that we can be, I guess. So
Mhm. Mhm.
that was my overall reflection of, you know, there is no patterns in randomness. You know, it's just
Right.
own it, right? So yeah, I'd love to get your thoughts.
Yeah. So for me, life is random, and that's something that you have to accept as a fact. And the book basically gives you, you know, kind of, I want to, in a way, we are not seeing randomness for what it is. So, for example, when somebody, um, let's say I'm a sports fan and I'm a Texans fan, and if for whatever reason I have a special socks that I wear because I wear the socks and I'm watching the Texans play, does that make the sock as the lucky thing that I wear that makes them win a game, and then when I don't have it, then they lose the game. So that's what I'm talking about. Is there is no causations of whether I wear the
Right,
socks or I don't wear the socks,
right,
but we believe in this thing. So
right,
to kind of get you to understand what the book's about is the randomness is there, but we tend to attribute the randomness to something else. For example, somebody is taking some kind of you know, let's say I'm eating some kind of miracle fruit, and these basically say, you know, it has some evidence that when I eat this miracle fruit, you know, whether that's acai berry or you know, the passion fruit or whatever exotic fruit that you can, and say these kind of fruit when I eat it, you know, it cure cancer or whatever. Because the thing is, in the essence of how the result turns out, it could be because it was caused by something else, maybe caused by your body getting stronger because of something, you know, maybe it just normally your body was still fighting and now it's winning versus, so it's a more of a coincidence, that because while you getting better that you were doing this and that and other, you attribute the solution or the cause of the result to something else that is irrelevant,
right,
right? And
right.
so
Yeah,
we are fooled by these things, by say, because we are looking for something to blame, to assign to kind of find reason for it. And then I think that kind of the you know, the book kind of tells you that, hey, you know, you're just being foolish by continuing on to believe things that isn't reality. And the
right,
reality is because of the randomness of things, there's no reasons or causations directly to cause this and that and the other, and you shouldn't blame people for this, and you shouldn't blame yourself. You shouldn't take it into and continue to be full, right? Because if you
Right.
understand the reality of it, then you can make decisions better by without having to carry this weight on your shoulders, saying, because it was my fault that this happened,
Right.
and maybe I should have done this, or maybe I should have taken done a different road. For example, if I go on and I had an accident, a car accident, I would tell myself that because I took I forgot something, I go back and it would delay me a minute, and then because of that I get into an accident. So we attribute a lot of these causation to something,
Right.
to anything arbitrary, and we live our life based on this lie.
100%. I mean, and our even us having this conversation today, and the journey that you and I have been on together is so insanely random. Not just taking it all back to just us being born, obviously,
Right.
and then coming back through this whole entire situation. The only reason that you and I are talking is because of Amelia, and because of the journey that we've been on together, and having this conversation today. I have no freaking clue how we got here. To be honest with you, I think if we tried to both recreate this entire journey together, like, and figure out, like, how one thing stacked up and lined up to each other, like, I think that's a fool's errand. It's just not
Right.
ever.
Exactly.
You're never. We can't, like, and we get so tricked into doing this stuff all over the place. You see it in business every single day, where we champion guys like Steve Jobs and Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, and what, it doesn't matter. Like, you name your guru out there or whatever, and we call them an expert, and we think that they know what they're talking about. They don't know anything. They don't know anything more than you and I know. I mean, they, like, because life is completely random. I mean, it's but
right, because if you continue to be fooled by randomness, it's take you down the wrong path, because
right.
you said, it's a fool's errand. You're doing this for nothing. Right. Because let's say, like I said, if you believe in eating some kind of exotic fruit is going to cure you of chronic disease or whatever, and you're just doing it and it just causes you more harm.
Yeah, you don't know what the ramifications of it are downstream. I mean, it reminds me of other books that I've read about the demon under the microscope of discovering phosphorus, and how they created synthetic fertilizers, basically, and taking that out of the atmosphere, and how that's, like, you think it sounds like, on the surface, it sounds like a great thing, but then, like downstream, like, or killing the beavers, in the Northwest. There's a reason why the droughts are out west, is because they kill all the beavers,
Right.
like, they stopped damming, the river stopped, they had purpose, like, but we always try to figure out, like, that we think that we know, why beavers are here and how we can manipulate stuff. And the truth is, we don't know anything about anything, like, it's just like, every time that you do something and you think you have some sense of control, like, you don't.
Right.
Like, so, for you and I, and how this relates to everything and the journey that we've been on of, reflecting on purpose and values, and, like, that's really the only thing you can control. And my view is your purpose and your values. Do what you want to do, and however that manifests into this world. I mean, that's karma at that point in time. You put more good karma out there into the world, and I expect that it'll come back, but I don't know how, and I don't know when, I don't know where, I don't know why, I don't know how we're gonna get to where we got to, but I have faith that, that because this world is random, that, if you do more of the stuff that you enjoy every single day, then that's really the big lesson that I learned, through the whole journey with Amelia, is like, I don't know why it happened, and I'm never going to know why it happened, and I don't want to. I'm done trying to figure out why it happened. What I want to figure out is how I can honor her every single day, and to put more good karma and what she taught me into this world, and we'll see where that takes us at the end of the day, and that's all I'm focused on. So however that randomly manifests itself, come what may.
Right. I mean, the thing is to have a more accuracy of the reality. Is more benefiting to you than to blindly believe in something because it looks like it makes sense. Right. So the book for me, it's made me realize that I need to question everything and verify it, because somebody say, okay, if you do this and that, and the other person, they did this, and it worked for them, you are taking you are assuming that whatever they did was the reason why the result they
Right.
get the result, from
Right.
that. And so
Yeah.
you try to do the same thing, but it doesn't work, or blow up in your face, and you're wasting time, or you got worse than you get into a worse position than you are.
Yeah.
And the chances of that happening is very high, meaning that the
It,
result isn't because of whatever people say it is.
it goes
It's
back
not
to the
it's not caused by because, okay, I have a successful business because I stand in the mud every day.
right.
Because it happens that I did that when I was doing this and that, but the real cause of my success, it's a coincidence that I in the standing in the mud and having my getting muddy toes and whatnot. That
Right.
is just a coincidence, but you take it. But I'm making a very obvious example, but there's things in life that we don't know. Um, that's it's not so clear. For example, oh, waking up at 5 a.m. is gonna increase your success, right? That has no evidence. There's no evidence in that. And so if you take these things and you just stressing out your body because you didn't have enough sleep, for example, is even worse off for you because your body didn't have enough time to prepare and this and that. So there's a whole slew of things that is bad for you if you take things without questioning whether this is the real reason, because
Yeah.
you're living in a fake reality,
The moment
if
you
that
try to
makes
fight
sense.
nature, yeah, no, it does make sense. The moment you try to fight nature is the moment you went wrong. Like, I mean, like we need to sleep. Like that's
Right,
important. Like
right.
we life is random. That's important to understand. Like these are nature. These are laws of nature. That we cannot change. And if we think that we can, then it's going to take you down a rabbit hole where you're going to, be brought to your knees eventually. And
Right, right. And a lot of
uh,
people they take these history lessons as the fundamental fact of how they should make decisions for their life. And that, to me, that's a real risk and real danger, because you're it's random. It could derail your life at any moment. But you take it because you take it in a way that is not reflecting the reality of what your life is. Then it's a fool's errand, like you said.
yeah, I agree. So it's an interesting book. Definitely would check it out.
Yes.
And all of Taleb's writings as
Yes.
well. I mean,
So
we
Taleb's writing isn't
yeah.
the easiest to understand, but there is a lot of profound insights if you're able to, you know,
Yeah.
take it in and absorb it.
Yeah. So the question that we can leave for everybody is, in what ways has randomness defined your life? And I hope the answer for all of you is
It's
it's 100%. Like, I mean,
exactly.
but yeah, I mean, it's just a quick side note. I always crack up still these days. Back before this whole journey with Amelia, I know I told you I used to listen to that How I Built This podcast all the time. And it was like my favorite podcast. And at the very end of it, he would always ask, so do you contribute, your success to skill or luck, and most people would always say, there's definitely some luck, but I worked really hard and I did blah, 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 blah. Like the funny thing is like, it's 100% luck. Like, I mean, it's like, there is no, yeah, I mean, it's like, if I ever have the opportunity to have that conversation with Guy Raz, about Club Me someday, it'll be like, look, I don't even know if I want to call it luck, because it means I lost my daughter that this whole thing happened. That's not lucky. Like, I mean,
Yes.
bad things can happen in life and it can still have a good positive outcome, but that doesn't mean that, it's luck or skill or anything. It just is. It is what it is, right?
Right.
So anyway, we'll leave you with that question and look forward to the conversation tomorrow.
Yeah. Tomorrow. See ya.